Hello there. I'm going to show you a must-do maintenance procedure that everybody with an older Polaris, or even maybe a newer one too, should know. I'm not super familiar with the newer ones, so they might be different than this one, but let's just go ahead. This one is about a mid-90s machine, and what I'm talking about here is a machine that just doesn't want to start, doesn't want to run all the time. This machine was stored for a long time, so I took the air box out of this area right here, and I did some work on the carbs. I cleaned the jets, drained them, replaced the water catcher hoses, and then I actually synchronized them, and then put some oil in the cylinders in case that they were dry, that sort of thing. And the next thing that I do, without even trying to start it, is I come to the area where the airbox is, and I look at the gas tank here, and I'm interested in this this area where the gas comes out of the gas tank. And this is why. Here's what happens. Okay, first of all, you see the bottom of the gas tank is here, top of the gas tank is here, and there's the fill cap. And this area where the fuel comes out is almost exactly halfway up. And what ends up happening is, okay, there's a filter on the end of a hose inside the fuel tank. Here's that filter. Let me see if I can get it to focus on that. It's like a mesh, a metal mesh, and brass that can take a hose. And what ends up happening is that hose rots and falls off inside the tank. And now your machine will have no hose coming off of this inside the tank. And the machine won't run if you have less than half of a tank, because the gas will be down here and it will be just sucking air right up here. So what you do is draw this clamp back like I have done, and take this hose off like I have already done, and you break this loose with a wrench and spin it out, and then very carefully start to pull it out, because you should see a clamp and a hose connected to it. But I tell you what, more than half the machines out there have nothing on it like this because the hose rotted. I'm just telling you, more than half the machines out there, this is going wrong. It should be looked at. Even after I fix it today, I'll take a look at this maybe every 3 years to make sure it's okay. So now here's the tip. After you get this off, you've got to replace it with a hose that's meant to be immersed or submerged in gasoline. And so you got to go to Polaris to get the right hose. You can go to other manufacturers and get a hose too, but it's going to be like a clear plastic or rubber that is meant to be submerged in fuel. This stuff is like $6 to $7 a foot, but it's going to actually do the job. Okay, so also this hose needs to be like over a foot long, because if it's not long enough and you turn this thing in, it could end up just pointing up in the air inside the tank, and again, you're sucking air. You need it to point down, and it can actually coil around inside this gas tank, and as long as it lays in the bottom. So you can have a long hose, and that'll do the job. So okay, I'm gonna just put this together, and I should have had this kind of put together beforehand. But just so you'll see, what it looks like, let me prop this up right here, and maybe you can see what I'm doing. There's the hose onto that piece, and then the hose onto the pickup, or the filter, whatever you want to call it, the screen. Okay, now I'm going to pick up the camera again and point that so you can see it. Okay, so now it's really low profile, and you're able to now fit all of this back into the gas tank. So I wanted you to see this part, because it's kind of weird that you install it this way, but that's the way it goes. And you'll start tightening this down, and don't go totally nuts on tightening this down. You want to submerge almost all these threads. But remember, this is plastic, and so you can strip these threads out. So just, tighten it in so this is all the way in, and don't worry about getting it too tight. Then put your hose back on, and you should be able to, as long as your your fuel pump is working, which is right down here on this one. As long as that's working, you should be good to go. And your fuel is going to flow and this thing's actually going to run. So definitely when you're having problems running, make sure you check this, because almost all these old Indies need this. Alright, if you like the video, just give me the like, and throw a comment in there if you want me to film something else that you'd like to see. Alright, have fun now.